Raise your hand if you've ever been busy. Raise your hand if you've ever got tired and feel like you just need a couple days off. Most people would have both hands up right now. That's our world, fast-paced and income-driven. That's why we get caught up in our own lives so often, and that's why it's understandable when most people don't focus on worries that aren't their own. So what makes someone become a humanitarian? Someone whose whole life focuses on the welfare of other humans.
When you go back and you see kids that were living on the streets, kids had no structure, they had no routine, people who had nothing, they didn't have meals. When you see that they're all of a sudden they're waking up, they have structure, they have something to do, they have a meal in their belly, their life changes completely. They, like I said, their self-esteem changes, their self-worth, their ability to know who they are in the world and what they have the potential of becoming, you know, to give that hope, to give that dream, and then to watch people actually use that to do good for themselves and others it's amazing. It becomes an addiction.
And with Serena's help, we'll find the meaning of life to a humanitarian.
Yes, good morning. Good morning. I am back. Oh, this has been a fulfilled Friday morning for me. And yeah, I'm going to be just a little bit selfish this morning because, first of all, I just love this show. If you're just tuning in for the first time ever, this is the Coaches Lounge with Barbara J. Beckley. And what I do is I bring wonderful, amazing, spectacular, I know, can I find any more descriptive words to describe these coaches that come on, these mentors, these teachers. And I always say they're the important part of the whole universe. You know why? Because they take the time out, their knowledge, their expertise, and they take that and they say, you know what? I want to help you. I want to help individuals move that needle in their life. And I was saying to myself, that would be so nice if there could be a show or something to express these wonderful coaches. And I said, you know what? Let me create one. If there's not one out there, why do they always say, hey, if there's not one out there, create your own, right? So under the Diamond Factory Experience Network, which is the Coaches Lounge comes on every Friday. And I bring some amazing coaches that I have been just blown away. And it has really been teaching me more and more how to even structure my own life. And what I do as being a coach is one of my hats, but not today. My hat today is to make sure that you see the coach that I'm bringing on and see them shine. And they're going to give you those little golden nuggets, as I say, to say to yourself, I never thought of it like that. Or, hint, hint, after you listen to the conversation and get to know them on the Coaches Lounge, reach out. And if you feel like you don't need them, you know somebody that might need them. So there's no excuse for to sit there and not to share their information. So you see what I'm doing right now, right? I don't have to hide it. I'm asking. It's an ask, not a tell, because somebody got on me a long time ago. You can't tell people who to talk to, who to teach, Barbara. I said, well, yeah, I can do an ask though, right? I can get around that. So I ask you to give them the respect. They come on, they're taking their time to come on to the show because you just give this a little, information of what they do. And then that's maybe something that you need to do. And I always tell people, if Oprah, Oprah has many coaches. Barbara Walters, many coaches. I mean, we can go through a whole bunch of celebrities alone if we want to start there first. And they have coaches, not just one, not just two, that they have a few of them in different sectors in their life. So it's just to see how important it is to have that. So I want to introduce, this is the queen of all queens. She has, and I have to just say, this woman has patience with me and with the network, because technically, and you know, I'm open. I don't have no hidden agendas here. And I always say when things go, you know, our network last week, they basically told me, oh, by the way, we're doing maintenance. And they told me like maybe 5-10 minutes before my show. I'm like, really? What are you doing? It made me look bad. But then I had to wind up asking this queen if she can come on another week. And she looked at her schedule, and I know how busy she's probably is, and said, Barbara, I can do it. And this is the treat that I get. Like I said, the selfish part of me saying, I get to see you, Stacey, in action today. And she's coming on in a minute here. But before I do that, I want to introduce this wonderful woman. This is like a triple threat. She is an entrepreneur. She's a best-selling author, speaker, international, a coach. She does health, lifestyle, and epilepsy coaching. And that's really interesting. I love that. She's the founder of the Complete Herbal Guide. She has empowered hundreds and thousands worldwide through books, webinars, websites, courses, educational videos, the live events, and the list goes on. She's also a queen of queen, as I call the women. Her book, Empowering Yourself and Not Letting Your Conditions Empower You, which already with that title alone I got tingles in me. I was like, that is so, that gives you comprehensive, evidence-based, insightfulness, motivational, and inspiring playbook for empowering yourself. Keywords. This queen uses keywords to tell you basically what you're going to know after you read this book. I just love that. Playbook to empower yourself. Okay, I'm not gonna keep you waiting. I'm not gonna keep you waiting. So let's meet this queen, and let's just really get get a piece of paper and a pen, and you're gonna be ready to take some notes, because this is going to be a lesson. She's doing kind of, you know, I always ask the coaches, could they come on and do some key, like 3 or key moments, but she's going to be doing kind of a small workshop for us. Isn't that exciting? So here she comes. I'm going to bring on Miss Stacey. There she is.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, and how are you?
I am doing spectacular, because you are on the show. Thank you. Totally appreciate you, lady. So
my pleasure.
I know you have, you just have so much. And you know, I just said just a little small portion of what you do. But before we even start, because I know you have kind of a small, like a little teaching workshop you're going to give us today, I wanted to kind of first get into you're just pulling the curtain. I always say pulling that little background curtain in a people's life, and just saying, how did you get to this point of what you're doing right now, and what was your why?
Okay, so at the age of 5, my parents heard a gurgling noise in the other room. My mother came on to check on me. At that time, I had like a little ear infection and a little virus going on, nothing major. The doctor put me on antibiotics. So she hears the gurgling noise. She goes in my room, and I'm turning blue, and I'm going in a grand mal seizure. She calls the ambulance, and they rushed me to the hospital. And immediately they induced me into a coma, which lasted for 4 days. It had turned into encephalitis, and the virus had traveled to my brain, and my brain was beginning to swell. So they induced me into this coma, and they said, most likely if she comes out, she'll probably be paraplegic, or she'll have severe brain damage. So my father, who is from Greece, he came from a little island in Greece, and they had one big church there. And he used to tell me, it was a very heartwarming story, that there was a statue in front of the church, and they used to have teardrops that came down the statue's eye, excuse me. So he was praying to her, and he was praying that I would be okay. And on the 4th day, he opened his eyes after he prayed, and a teardrop rolled down my eye. And I opened my eyes, and I asked for McDonald's French fries. And and so he, I was
Out of everything, huh?
out of everything. Yeah, I wanted those fries,
Yes.
So I came out and I wasn't paraplegic. I didn't have brain damage, but I did have epilepsy. And to this day, they cannot find the scar tissue, which causes the epilepsy. But I had numerous seizures, not just one type. So most likely I have minor scar tissue throughout my brain, which causes the epilepsy. So living life was kind of like a roller coaster ride. It was very hard. I had my ups and downs. I had good points and I had bad points. Later on in life, especially when I was going into college, those late night studying, all that stress that goes on when you're trying to, go through college and get your degree, it was putting a lot of stress on my body and my mind. So I was having numerous seizures, and I got to some point where I said, just don't think I'm going to be able to do this. I wanted to get my degree. I had hopes and dreams in my head, but I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do it because I just kept having these constant seizures. So there was Epilepsy Foundation. They're based in Washington, D.C., and they have every state has one. I had written to they had a magazine back then, and I asked them if they would publish my article. And I asked people, how do they cope with epilepsy? How do they get through this? What are the ways that the techniques and the things they do to get through this? And I was very stunned. I got 300 to 400 letters to my door from people all over the United States and Canada, people sharing their stories, sharing, their own emotions and what they do to get through living with epilepsy. And I was very touched, and I actually learned from them. And the first thing I learned was I wasn't alone. A lot of times when we go through things in life, we feel alone. We feel like nobody is there. Nobody knows what we're going through. Nobody understands. But at that point, I realized that I wasn't alone. And I learned a lot through these letters. I used a lot of their techniques and the tools they taught me in these letters, and I applied it to my own life. And I got through college. I got my degree. Then I went on to, I started working with a big corporation in New York. I got very lucky and I got a really great job. But then one day I felt the aura coming on. I was in the hallway, and that aura, if no one knows what an aura is, it's a signal your body's saying you're going to go into a seizure. And I was looking around. I was trying to find a safe spot where I could go where no one would see me. But in that building, there was no safe spot. So, I fell to the ground, and I was awake during the seizure, but I couldn't move. I was, frozen in that seizure. And one of the producers just walked right over me and kept walking. And I looked up and I said to myself, I can't believe he didn't even stop to help me. I was like, oh my God.
Crazy. Yeah. Oh my God.
So 30 minutes later, another associate producer came over and they released me from my position. And so I didn't let it get me down. I said, you know what? I'm going to move on. This wasn't meant to be. And so I started to work as a freelance writer and do other things and started to open up my own businesses. And I started, in college, I had taken those letters and I had created them. And I said, one day I'm going to write a book. And I started writing the book in college, and then I put it to the side. And then the gentleman who now is my husband said, would you finish that damn book already? So I did. And and then you
always need that person to push you, right?
One person to give you that little push to get going, So I was finishing that book, and I got a letter from somebody, and they had, once the book was published, someone had written to me and emailed me and said, I was on the verge of suicide, and I read your book and I followed your regimens, and it gave me inspiration to live. And a light bulb went up, and I was like, wow. I said, this is my calling. I realized how powerful the wisdom of words can really be. And at the same time, a herbalist had contacted me, and he asked me, can you do research for me? I need a lot of research and writing. And so I was doing that at the same time. And I started saying, wow, a lot of these natural herbs and these techniques sound like they could help me. And I started applying a lot of these things to my own life. And I went from 12 seizures to 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to being controlled. So it was a combination of my medication and living a healthy lifestyle, applying these herbals, changing my entire lifestyle, and just creating a life that worked for me, giving myself limitations. No one likes limitations, but sometimes we have to give ourselves limitations if we want to be healthy, if we want to be, to the point we are, where we desire in life to be.
Yes.
So that's how it all got started. And, I started making a little website. I don't know if you remember Blogger back then, but it was like a little website that Google gave it to you for free. And right away I started writing. I said, wow, these things could help not just people with epilepsy, but they could help people with all different conditions. So that's what I started writing about. And right away, 400 people came on, and then 10,000. And then, I started working with a web designer, and he said, you know what, I can make your little blog a really nice website. And he did. And I used that website, and, I went from 10,000 to 100,000, and the website kept growing and growing and growing. And I just started writing my books and started teaching and just started, helping others. And it was a great feeling to be able to help others. I think one of the greatest accomplishments in the world is being able to help another individual, with their own life. I feel like, that is the best accomplishment anyone can ever feel, that feeling of helping someone else, change their lives.
Yes. And I love, first of all, thank you for sharing your story. That's one of the things I really thrive on with the Coaches Lounge, is hearing the coaches' stories behind the coach, because that always, I feel like, is the foundation. Because like you said, you found through going through what you went through, Stacey, and then pulling from that point as a child. And then at that point, even on your job, and went through some, like you said, with the seizure, and then found out, you know what? I didn't supposed to be there anyway. I'm supposed to be doing my thing. I'm supposed to have my own. I'm a coach. I'm supposed to be helping people and empowering and helping them get through. So sometimes we go, I always tell people there's sometimes a weird way how we kind of get to where our purpose is. But once we get there, Stacey, it is wonderful. And that's when, like you said, now you're helping others. So you, wonderful.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So now now let's get to the really exciting part. Now that all that stuff that you learn and stuff. Now I know you said one of the workshops you do, and you're going to give a little tease here of how to teach others how to empower themselves. And I know that word, I was going to say, if you can go a little into that word, because a lot of times some people, they don't, certain words they don't understand. And if they don't understand it, then everything else doesn't fall like it should. So if you do a little part of that, and then go through your transformational, those different stages that you talk about.
Yes, I want to grab something real quick because I created something that I wanted to show. Hold on one second.
No problem. And while she's doing that, I'll just let everybody know, if you're just chiming in, this is the Coaches Lounge with Barbara Beckley. I'm with the wonderful and amazing Stacey. She is, like I said, a triple threat. She's a best-selling author. She's just amazing. If you missed her story, if you're just chiming in, you need to come back, because this is going to be on replay forever. And some people's like, well, it'll be down for 2 weeks. No, this will be on forever.
Okay, so basically what I teach how to, everybody has empowerment in our lives. We all carry empowerment, and, being able to have empowerment. Empowerment is surviving to thrive, to thrive. And we survive in life. Every day we are filled with obstacles in our lives, but we have to learn how to endure those obstacles and overcome them. So, in life, sometimes people feel like they're just getting by every day, and they feel like they're getting dragged. We can change that, so we feel like we're not surviving anymore, that we're thriving, that we can overcome, we can be powerful, we can get everywhere we want in life, that life doesn't have to be, we don't have to look at the negative things in life, that we can look at the positive. We can feel an energy in ourselves, a positive energy that can help us get through anything we want. And the way we do that is involving and reflecting on our own personal values, our skills, and bringing goals into our lives, and being prepared to adjust our behavior in order to achieve our goals. Confidence and strength is one of the main things that we need to focus on, because once we have confidence and once we have strength, we can endure anything in life. But the question is, how do I grab that strength? How do I build, when we go through things in life, especially if we have illnesses or we suffer from stress or anxiety, or we're just not feeling good about ourselves, how do we get from low self-esteem to feeling great about ourselves? That's a challenge, but there are ways to overcome that so we can go from low self-esteem to high self-esteem. It's managing yourself so you can take organization and time in our lives. And you don't have to, this is not a full-time job. This is time each day, just taking some time out for yourself to build yourself so you could have that empowerment. So you could, because we carry that empowerment in ourselves, but sometimes we don't believe enough in ourselves, and we kind of repress our emotions. We don't focus, because sometimes change can be fearful. We change in a lot of times in life, we fear change, and people don't know, well, if I change, what am I going to become? What's going to happen to me? But everybody wants to feel confident. Everyone wants to be strong. Everybody at some, has a desire, to become an achiever, an accomplishment, in life, and to be able to, reach their goals and their dreams in life. But like I mentioned, people fear change and they fear failure. That's a big thing too. They want these dreams that they put in the back of their head, but they're afraid of failure. But I don't believe in the word failure. I believe if we try, that's good enough. Give yourself a pat on the back. We might not get to the exact, yes, give yourself a pat on the back. We might not get exactly where we want to be that we set in our head, but that doesn't mean that you failed. It means that maybe that wasn't meant for you exactly the way you interpreted it in your mind. Maybe there's something else, but you just tried. So that's part that should build your self-confidence just a tad, in itself, that you had enough of courage to make a change in your life. We have to face our fears, overcome, the denial in our life, because when we endure problems in our life, a lot of times we are in denial because we do not want to accept the fact that we have a problem, an issue in our lives that we have to face. And that's the first step that I've learned, how do we get through the denial stage? Because when we have problems in our life, the best way to not have to deal with problems is to be in denial. Say, no, everything's fine. I'm good. No, I don't. No. And and what happens? The problem still exists, and you're lying to yourself, and that problem's not going to go away. So people say, how do you know if you're in denial? You know what? Well, you don't acknowledge the problem. But just like I mentioned just now, you try not to face the problem, and you try not to look at the facts of the problem. You want to downplay it as much as possible. You want to downplay the consequences and what situations can do to you. Okay. So, a lot of people, they just, they feel like, well, you know what, if I lie to myself, then, I don't have to deal with it, And so then we have to figure out, all right, how do we get over the denial stage? How do we move past the denial? How do we overcome denial? Well, ask yourself, am I scared? Ask yourself, what am I fearful of? Think about what will happen if you stay in denial and you don't empower yourself to cope with this condition. Now, it's great to express your emotions. However, you don't want anyone, you don't want to always tell everybody how you feel. People are very private people, and people are scared sometimes to tell others because they're afraid to be judged. That comes with low self-esteem also. People are worried what others will think. Well, who cares what others think? You should be caring about what you think, how you feel. You should be putting yourself on the pedestal. People sometimes don't believe they should be on that pedestal, but girl, you're not going to get anywhere in life unless you put yourself on a pedestal. You cannot help others until you help yourself, and it is okay to express your emotions. And if you don't want to express your emotions to another individual, or if you don't feel enough of trust in other people around you, then write a journal, create a journal and put it on paper. just getting it out of you will make you feel so much better. Just write those emotions down. And you know what? Just if you repress those emotions for so long and you don't even know how you feel, if you feel numb inside, well, how did I feel today? Start like with little easy stuff, okay, I woke up this morning. How did I feel? And then you start to dig deeper and deeper. Well, why did I feel like that? And then you start moving little by little. And then you start writing in that journal. And then sometimes things will just come about. You'll hit something inside you. I believe the mind, body, and soul are all connected. And, our intuition and our heart are always speaking to us. And we sometimes have to just, concentrate, focus, relax, write, and things will come to you, things that you didn't even know. And honesty. Oh my God. People sometimes lie to themselves so much that they don't even know the truth anymore. Be honest and ask yourself. You have to help by the first thing is to accept that you have an issue in your life. The second thing is that you have to be honest with yourself. You have to say, okay, you know what? I don't believe in the word perfect. Nobody's perfect. Get out of that media, that they try to put that persona of that perfect person, that perfect individual. That nobody is perfect. Have you ever seen a model when they're all done up and then you see them on the street and the photographer takes a picture of them before they're all not done up? You don't even know who that person is. There's no site. They're just like us. Nobody's perfect. Come on now. Let's be real.
I love it. Before you go on, Stacey, I was thinking you're just giving so many golden nuggets here and there. You're just dropping them back. And the thing I wanted to ask you, through your coaching that you do with people, you talked about denial and you talked about, thinking about others. Do you see a lot of individuals when they come to you that because they're thinking so much of, oh my God, what are they going to say? Or I don't want them thinking this about me and all that. Do you get a lot of that? And do you have to kind of push through that with people?
Oh, definitely. That's one of the biggest problems. The biggest problem is self-esteem, not feeling that you're worthy. If you grow up, 70% of our society is dysfunctional. So if you grow up in a dysfunctional environment, and people are telling you you're not worthy, or you go into society and you get banged down, you keep trying and you keep trying and you're just not, you're not achieving those things that you want to achieve in life. Sometimes you think you're not worthy, and a lot of times it all stems from the childhood, the root of the problem. It always, people don't realize, but how a person is raised will affect them as they get older as an adult. They're just like dogs. If you have a puppy and you give that puppy lots of love and kisses and you treat them really well when they're a puppy, you're going to have the nicest little puppy. But if you start kicking that puppy and throwing it around and you start, and start teasing that puppy is going to knock the shit out of you when he gets bigger. He's going to growl at you. He's going to try to scratch you. You know what I mean? You gotta be really nice to people. You got to treat them with respect. That's the key word. When you are raising a child, you got to give them love, respect, praise them, and give them the confidence when they're a child. Because if you keep pushing that child and say, no matter what, if you have an illness, a disorder, anything that's going on in your life, if you tell that child you could overcome it, you can go overcome it. You are wonderful. You are great. That child is going to grow up to a young adult, and no matter what they're going through, they're going to say, I am great. I could do this. I could do this. But a lot of people don't do that. They follow the behaviors of the generation before, and it's just a cycle and a cycle and a cycle until it gets broken. And you have to come to the point in life saying, do I like the way I feel? Do I want to feel better? Well, you can feel better. You could release the power within you. You can empower yourself. And you have to realize that you are a wonderful person. And that goes into building self-esteem, and the first thing you have to do is accept yourself. You have to accept who you are. You have to realize that this is the person I am right now in the current area that I'm at. And you have to learn to love that person. And, a lot of people hate themselves. They dislike who they are. Now, you know what? You might not be satisfied with who you are at the moment, but once you start to learn how to accept, this is who I am, You understand, then you can start loving yourself. You have to realize the past is the past. We can't change the past. Why dwell on the past? I have people that I know that are in their 70s still talking about their childhood years.
Yes.
You know, they're talking about when I was 20, so and so said this to me. Well, you're not 20 anymore, and you can't change that.
And they're
All right.
probably not even there. I was about to say they're probably not even here anymore. I mean, I hate to say it like that, especially if you're in your 70s, they might have, but like you said, we do take, I'm glad, just to pause for a minute on that. I'm glad you brought that up, because we do go back. I mean, I had to catch myself a few times.
Yeah.
To
We
go
all
back
do.
and say, when I was 19 and 20 and I was teen, and I was like, okay, Barbara, get out of there. I mean, it's okay to say, okay, you had your life then, you appreciated it, or you went through obstacles, whatever happened, but you have to move forward. And I'm glad that you said that, because a lot of times people get stuck in that, what they call nostalgia or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, yeah.
Because the past is the past. We cannot change the past. Focus on the present and make changes in the present so you could have a fulfilling future. That's key, because the past is unchangeable. So why dwell on it? Why dwell on it? And you know what? And the biggest key too is forgiveness. People who hurt you in the past, don't carry that on your shoulders. Things that happened to you, get help and learn how to take that baggage off of you, because forgiveness is key. I've seen people who've had traumatic events, really bad traumatic events, and they learned how to forgive that person. And people will look at them like, how could you forgive them? Well, you know what? Once you forgive a person, you'll see a whole brick come off of your shoulders. You'll see a dove fly away, and he's taking all that stuff that pulled you down, because you know what? It's over. And that person wasn't in their right mind. Maybe that person had their own issues. That person grew up in a dysfunction, whatever the case may be. But forgive and forget, move on. That's key. It's key.
Yes, definitely. And I just think about, because we all have our stories, just like you went through, I went through some things, obstacles, but like you said, I always say, it's stepping stones of strength. That's what I always tell people. And it's just another stepping stone in your life to create more strength, more learning for you, more growth for you to move to the next level that you need to go to.
Yes. And I also tell people we have to understand our inner spirit. Like I was telling you earlier before, you need to know your inner spirit is to understand every inch of your mind, your body, and your soul. You need to figure out your motivations in life, your purposes, your goals, your passions, your fears. You have to understand who you are as a person. And that's when you start putting that down on paper, figuring out who you are and what you want to be, and, figuring out I always say it's not the mind that tells you everything. It's your heart. You have to connect with your heart. You have to connect with your heart, and your heart will lead you and guide you. And everything is intertwined. Even if you talk about the 7 chakras, everything has to be in line to work. And the same thing goes, your mind, your body, your spirit. And people don't even realize, but even over 70% of illnesses are caused by stress. So when we go through life and we go through stresses and we don't change ourselves to better ourselves, we're just opening our body and opening our immune system. And more illnesses come about, and it's, I talk about these exercises in my empowerment book, and I teach people how to connect with your inner spirit, how you can connect with your spirit and understand what your body needs, because your body is always telling you, it's giving you signals. Just like when you get pain, that's a signal from your body that goes to your brain and saying, yo, I'm not working right in this arm. Help me. Hello. It's your body talks to you, and when, and if your body talks to you by giving you signals and you get inflammation, it's telling you there's something going on over here, hello, go to the doctor or get some help, because you can see this arm is swollen and this arm is not. Your body talks to you. So does your spirit. So does your heart. So does your inner self. It's all intertwined together, and we were going back to accepting yourself. You have to get to a point in your life when you look in the mirror and you have to like the person you see. How many times people come into the mirror, and I'm sure we've all had this, even I've had this, you look in the mirror and you just don't like the person you see. You're not happy with that person, so what do? Do you give up and stop looking in the mirror? Do you put a sheet over the mirror and say, well, I don't got to deal with it. If I don't, just like going in denial, if I don't got to look at her, I don't got to deal with her, You have to become that empowered person and find the person you once loved. You have to, when was my most happiest point in my life? What will make me happy in life? Yes. And you have to figure out yourself. And I talk all about this in my book, step by step. And I give exercises to show people how to connect, how to get out of denial, how to learn how to love themselves, how to accept themselves, how to get, make all those tragic events and let them fly away. I talk about connecting with the body. And I show, and the biggest key is learning to love yourself, learning to love who you are as a person.
Oh my God. I'm just taking this all in. I am so glad that this is on record. I mean, it's live now, but I'm glad it's going to be here so I can take more notes of what you're saying, Stacey. Just good insight. I mean, learning about, like you said, denial, accepting, love, self-esteem. I know you're going to get into this setting goals and gratitude part in a minute, but just the ones that you talked about, I know it's a list, and probably you're saying, okay, Barbara, that's easier said than done. And we understand that. That's why I bring back about needing a coach, because it does take time. And you need that person to decide to say, you know what, let's walk through this. Just like Stacey said, she has certain ways in her coaching, in her workshops and her webinars, that she takes you through certain exercises to get you to a certain level. So it's not like, ding, okay, I'm not in denial no more. No, sometimes it don't work that way. If it did, you wouldn't need any coaches. I mean, to be honest with you, you wouldn't need anybody. But we all know, including myself, and I have, when you said denial, just really pinpointed me when I was denying the fact that I didn't want to go to the doctor. Come to find out I had cancer. Found out I had cancer. Wow. And instead of saying, okay, Barbara, like you said, when something in your brain and some their pain and it's saying ding, 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 there's a problem. I was like, ding, 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 I don't want to hear it. And that's when I went in denial mode. And it caused more grief, because something that could have been caught earlier didn't get caught when it should have. I'm in remission now, but I had to get a hysterectomy done, urgent one, when I went to the doctor, because everything was going crazy in my body. So just like you said, Stacey, if you're in that denial stage, that can cause more problems in the long run. So I tell people, you just have to just say, let me stop the moment here and see what's going on in my body. Like you said, mind, soul, and body. And direct myself and get out of that. No, I'm not getting denial. I'm not going to go in that world right now. I need to put it right in front of me and do something about it. So that's so powerful of parts of what you do in your coaching. And I'm so glad that's included.
Yeah. And you know what? Everybody needs help at some point of our lives, and, even coaches need help sometimes. We are people. We are not, people are people. We are human beings, and we all need help. And, and it's not a quick fix. It takes time. It takes time. Nothing in life, when you see something, rapid weight loss, easy fix, quick and easy, get rid of your belly fat in 2 days, these are things that's just not realistic. This is fantasy and desire versus reality. It would be nice. I would love to get rid of that belly fat.
Oh my God. Well, you said that.
Not going to happen in 2 days.
Or 2 weeks or 3. So yeah,
I've been trying for 10 years to get rid of that belly fat, and it's still not exactly the way I would like it.
So get out your head. Get that out your head already, like you said. Just get it.
It's baby steps. I call it baby steps. That's what it's all about. It's baby steps. It's little by little, and before you know it, you will see progress within the months. You will see changes within yourself, and you'll see yourself moving forward in life. but it's all going to take time. It's first, you start with one thing and then you move and you move and you move, and then you start going up a hill, and you're not going to reach that plateau, that pedestal we were talking about in one day. It's going to take time, and, a daily servant of gratitude will empower your life. Sometimes people just don't realize we are very lucky to live in the United States. We are given a lot of things that other countries are not, so lucky to have. And I always say, what people take that for granted. And sometimes the littlest things in life mean so much, and we don't realize that until they're taken away from us. And that's when we realize how much those little things in life really meant to us. And, research has shown that people who incorporate daily gratitude into their lives will improve their lives significantly, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And a recent study by psychologists have shown that people who incorporated gratitude into their lives obtain better health, sounder sleep, less anxiety and depression, higher long-term satisfaction with life, and a kinder behavior towards others, including their romantic partners. Because when you are stressed and you are having anxiety and you are just thinking, I have to do this, I want this, and you're not looking at what you have, you're not happy, because you're looking at, I need to pay the bills, I need to make more money, I need to do this, I need to do that. But think about it. You have people around you that love you. You have the when you walk outside, if you're not living in the city, you might even see a patch of grass in the city, but you have the air, the trees, the grass, you have the beauties of nature. You have people around you that care about you and love you. You have so many things you could be, you could have gratitude for, the littlest things in life, even driving a car. People with epilepsy, so many people can't drive because of their seizures, and people feel imprisoned in their own home, and not even just epilepsy, but a lot of people with other different conditions had to stop driving because they just weren't capable anymore, either lost the strength in their legs or whatever. And you don't realize these little things that we have, they mean so much, and being able to be with people that you love, and so many things, people
I
have
know. I just can't fathom. I know one person I talked to just the other day, and we were talking about gratitude, like you said. And, and I was telling them, I said, I'm just so grateful for having both of my legs. And they're like, what happened? Did you get in an accident or something? The first thing I said, no, I'm grateful for that, because just a few days ago, like you're saying, one of my legs swelled up really bad. Really, really bad. And I was like, uh-oh.
Wow.
Didn't get denial. I said, let me see what's going on. And then I had water. I retained a lot of water. So, I called the doctor and basically told him, okay, this is Barbara, this is what you do. And then like a day passed, everything, I flushed out the salt because it was too much salt intake I had.
Yeah.
And which was weird because I don't really eat. I didn't think I ate anything with a lot of salt in it, but you never know, your body absorbs. And I was okay after 2 days. So I was telling my friend, I said, I'm thankful for my legs because it swelled up the other day. And then she turned around and told me the weirdest thing, Stacey. What she told me?
What?
She said, well, I really don't have nothing to be thankful or grateful for.
You're breathing, you're living,
Thank you. Thank you.
You would be there talking to you and having your friendship if she wasn't breathing and living.
Can you please just sing that to the world right now, Stacey? I was like, you can't think of nothing, and I didn't want to I had to be careful because I didn't want to just be like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
But see, we take again, going back to what you said earlier, we take for granted other things. And then when a certain person comes to tell me, they said they don't know what to be thankful for or grateful for, I'm like, I can think of something right this second, and it's really quick. It doesn't take that long. So, lady, you are so on target. Part of what you do in your coaching about is mentioning about being grateful, because you can go on and on and on. There's so much stuff. The list goes on. The list goes on.
It goes on, And, I have in my book, I list like 7 steps. And in my book, I talk about how to accept and how to love yourself. And I go through those steps with people, and, and and I explain thoroughly in my book how to accept yourself and how to love yourself, because people don't think it's possible. Some people just don't think it's possible, but it is possible. And I discuss that in my book. And and everybody has to realize that you could boost your self-confidence, that boosting your self-confidence is something that is not impossible. Self-confidence is a characteristic that everyone can attain. Yet feeling insecure about ourselves, and perhaps the most common problem of humanity. The majority of people in society think that you have to be born with it, but it's not true. You learn how to be confident just as you learn how to cook and drive a car. Self-confidence all boils down to how you feel about yourself. And once we feel good about ourselves, once we learn to accept ourselves, love ourselves, start accomplishing our short-term and our long-term goals that I talk about in my book, because in life, we need to be organized. Like I mentioned in the beginning, if you want to change your life, well, get that journal out. You got to start making short-term goals, long-term goals. You have to have a section about how you write about your feelings. You have to have a section about what you have gratitude for. Talk about what you have gratitude for each day. And you start to see how lucky you are as a person. And then you start to feel good about yourself, And number one is begin that journal. That's number one for building your self-confidence. And two is you have to realize that the past is unchangeable. We are no longer in the past. You cannot change it. So stop thinking about the past and what others said to you and what you went through. It's over. We can't do anything about it. And then you just got to learn to love yourself and accept yourself for who you are as a person. And I talk about how to do that in my book. And then you have to dig deep inside yourself. And that's when we talked about the inner self and understanding the mind, body, and soul connection. And then, before you know it, once you start accomplishing those short-term goals and those long-term goals, and you start doing all these things I talk about in my book, you start to develop self-confidence, and it becomes easier for people to develop that self-confidence. Because once you start building it, it's like Legos. You start with the bottom, and then you start building and building. Before you know it, you got a big building going on, and it becomes pretty sturdy by the time you get up to the top, until one of those dogs that have a little bit of a thing, because you didn't treat them nice, knocks it over. But otherwise, it's pretty sturdy.
There's that dog coming back. If you don't put the love there, it's gonna
you don't
turn
give that
out.
dog love, you're screwed. You got it when you have to treat others how you want to be treated yourself. And respect and love is key. Even if you don't know that person, by walking by somebody and saying, wow, that's a nice blouse, you just made that person's day. That person might have low self-esteem, but by you making a compliment, you might have just helped that person, believe it or not. It's all about, we have to really change our outlook, retrain the brain, and retrain how we feel as a person. And then we got to start giving back, you have to starting to change the things in life that you dislike about yourself. Well, if you can't get better with a magic wand. In order to change, you have to change the things you dislike about yourself. Confidence comes from within. You need to concentrate on the positive things about yourself. And that's one big thing that people don't do. They focus more on the negative than they do on the positive. But if you focus on the positive, you will see a humongous change in your self-esteem. I used to say that I'm grateful for having epilepsy, and people used to look at me and give me the oddest look. And I said, well, you know what? I was on my way to, a really huge career, and I was on my way to a lot of good opportunities. But, I was envisioning myself having martinis on a Friday night, buying expensive pocketbooks and buying these nice high heels. And, all these things happen. And then all of a sudden my life turned around and that dream was out the door. But you know what? I started working with people. I started doing a lot of advocate work. I started helping people that had disorders, that had diseases, that had illnesses, that were going through stress. And like I said to you before, the biggest feeling was helping these people, the biggest feeling of achievement. And you know what? It made me look at life by having my epilepsy, by changing my entire life, getting changed like a whirlwind. Yes. I am able to sympathize, with people and understand how people feel, and, comfort those people, where I don't think if I was heading down that track, I don't think I would have gave a shit. to be honest with you. But, when I look at people, I care. I have a care, within myself, because I know what you've gone through somewhat, because I've gone through a lot myself. So I could relate to people. I can understand where they're coming from. And I don't look at people, I look at people with love, and I have, sympathies for the people, and I don't feel sorry, but I feel I know where you're coming from, because I've been there, and I still, every day, epilepsy doesn't go away. I have to take care of myself. We have to always take care of ourselves. As we get older, more things come about. And it's all about, taking care of yourself. And it's all about loving yourself and giving back to the world. And you know what? Sometimes I believe everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason. So I look at everything that happens to me. I try to find the positive in the situation, and not fall into that pity party, and not get into that sadness and that depression, because that's what happens. People fall into, they feel pity, they feel sorry for themselves, they fall into depression, they get angry, they get anxiety, and then all of a sudden life's not worth it in their eyes, and their self-esteem goes downhill. You don't have to be like that. Find that power within you, release it, and live life, because everyone deserves a happy and fulfilling life.
Yes, and you only have this one. I know
Yes.
everybody have different beliefs, but I believe you have this one life. Why don't you just live it fruitfully and
Yes.
happy and just content in what you want to do of you, and love yourself so you can love others. And
Yes.
sometimes we make things a little bit more difficult than it could be. I know
Yeah.
I do. I have to say, I put my hand up. Yes, I have made my life in some areas a little bit difficult, and I say to myself, you know what, Barbara, now it's time to, like you said, Stacey, move it forth now. You learn, now what you're gonna do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
People need to learn that they have to have tremendous pride in themselves. You have to remember, you are number one. Everybody in life deserves to be number one. There is no number two. You are number one. And you need to walk in a room and say, I am number one, and you have to feel it. And you have to, yeah, I'm going to conquer the world today. Yeah.
number one.
I am number one. Yes.
Okay, everybody, you heard Stacey. You are number what?
You are
One.
number one. Yes.
I love it. See, you got me pumped up. Now I'm like, okay.
You're not number two. You are number one, and you're going to rock the world, because you got everything it takes. And all you need
Yes.
to do is find it within you, and you will rock this world.
Okay, now if you can't tell me you can't want this coach, please come on now. Everybody, Stacey is amazing. Look at her 2 books, Empowering Yourself and Not Letting Your Conditions Empower You. Please pick that book up. It is very important in your life. It's like a playbook, like she said, right there. And Stacey, please show the books, because I don't want to get that visibility for you. And the Positivity and Gratitude Journal. Yeah, to get that as well.
Okay.
Yes, ladies, show your book, show your success. Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about here on the Coaches Lounge. I bring the coaches. I want you to see the books and the learning and the techniques and stuff that they use to help you. That's what it's all about. Coach Stacey, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
It's a light to me today. Now, before we go, I always like to do this with my coaches. I want to anything lasting that you just want people to know. Give you 30 seconds. I'm going to take myself down so you can talk to the audience, and I'll be right back.
Okay. So basically, everybody has the power within them to become the person they always wanted to. We have desires when we have needs, but we can make those desires and those needs a reality. Now, come to my website at staceychillemi.com, and you will find everything you need. My coaching sessions, my books, everything is there to help you. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. My blog, thecompleteherbalguide.com, is linked to staceychillemi.com, and that has over 5,000 articles about how to heal your body, how to keep healthy, recipes, everything you can think of on how to heal yourself. And you can come to my website. I have all these different things to help you, to help your life, to connect with yourself and become the person you always dreamed of becoming, because we all are capable of being everything we ever desired. We are the masters of our own universe. Take what you have in your heart and bring it to the world, because you are a special person and you can make anything happen, and you can change yourself to be that person you always dreamt of being. And you can come, my books are on Amazon.com. I have the Empower Yourself book. I have the Positivity and Gratitude book journal. If anyone has epilepsy, I recreated my Epilepsy You're Not Alone book this year, and it has a lot of different techniques and tools that we talked about in this session to help people with epilepsy. And once again, I'm on all the platforms, so if you want to come to any of the platforms, you'll find me there. And I hope I've helped somebody today.
Oh, no, not hope. You have. The hope is out the door. You have helped a lot of people today, and you will continue to help so many people, Stacey. Coach Stacey.
Thank you so much.
A shiny. Remember, everybody, what Coach Stacey told us today? You are number one.
You are number one.
I mean, a whole lot of golden nuggets, but that's the one I want people to remember too, that you are number one. Because you are number one. I always tell people that. So, of course, you're number one.
Yes.
So
we are the masters of our own universe.
Yes. Telling you your own empire, own universe, yes. Your own empire. That's what I tell people. So you just show up in that way. But Coach Stacey, thank you so much again, lady. Thank you for being patient with me. This has been spectacular. Anytime you need to come back on the Coaches Lounge to share anything that's going on in your world, if you have going on events or whatever that you want to bring visibility and promote, I am here for you. And I just want to tell you again, it has just been just a celebrity. You're a celebrity, lady. Thank you. You take care, lady. We'll talk soon.
Oh, you too. Definitely. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I've had a taste, now I